This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Saturday morning, it's raining where I am. I don't know where in the world you are, I never know. Mr. Kalle Sauerland.
I couldn't tell you that.
We like that bit.
How are you, KUGAN? Nice to speak to you bright and fresh on a Saturday morning.
Always.
You're looking fresher than you did last Saturday morning.
Yeah, let's not go into
We'll leave what goes on in the bubble stays in the bubble.
Apparently so. So I wanted to talk to you this morning about this situation regarding Filip Hrgović and Micheal Hunter, purse bids, the IBF. It's kind of like I'm asking you like a general question to ask you exactly what's going on with it, because it seems like this is dragged out for such a long time. And
well, it's a shambles. Sorry to cut short there, KUGAN, on a question, but I'm loaded. So it's a complete shambles. Let me start. Filip Hrgović lives with his family in Croatia. He went in January, we're now in May, to start a camp in the States with Pedro Diaz, his trainer, in January, first week of January, believing that we were signed to fight on a show with DAZN in April. The opponent most likely would have been Martin Bakole, as we all know. And February 23 arrives the letter that every boxer dreams of. It's the letter for the final eliminator for the heavyweight championship of the world. There's no contractual offers better than that. That is the offer to fight a man to challenge for the right to challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world. Every heavyweight sets out in boxing, amateur, professional, to do that. That is the goal of every professional. That arrived. Go down the list, few declined. Then it comes down to Micheal Hunter and Filip Hrgović. They were announced as the parties who would contend this bout. Negotiations start. It started off very bizarrely because you get copied. So we got copied as his representative, and the person who was copied as his representative wasn't even his representative anymore. So he clearly got rid of certain people. And when you see that already starting, then you know it's going to be an interesting discussion. So between myself, Eddie Hearn, who's our partner with DAZN on this, on Filip, we went back and forth with Hunter. You know, then it was this representative, then that representative, back and forth. Anyways, we called for a purse bid because that's what you do when you can't reach terms. That is a given in boxing. That first purse bid was coming up 2 days before the purse bid. We're there, almost there. So we say, okay, do you know what? Let's do the deal voluntarily. Anyways, call the purse bid off. Suddenly there's another U-turn. No, the deal's not good. Okay, we say, well, we're not messing around now. Immediate purse bid again. But of course, there's a 2-week delay when you've called off a bid and called it again. We called on the bid. And from that point on, we knew we wouldn't reach a deal. So the bid came. He was talking, this person might bid, that broadcaster might bid. You know, there's a few broadcasters that have been slinging them out at purse bids of recent times. That's fair enough if that's what he wants to do. Anyways, cut long story short, we were the only bidders, Matchroom and us, who wanted the rights for the fight. So with not a bad amount at $606,000. Yeah, we were the only bidders for the fight. So all the spiel before never materialized. What happens then is that is split. He would get 60% of the amount. Once again, not a bad bit of money, but even this fight isn't really about the money. It's about the right to challenge for a championship of the world. And we all know what that's paying at the moment. You know, the last American challenger received a fee in the region of $6-7 million. So, you know, if you believe in yourself, who cares what you're getting for the elimination? But it was, once again, still a big amount of money. The IBF then send out, and it has to be signed within 2 weeks, a standard contract. This is not a Wasserman boxing contract. It's not a matchroom contract. It's not a broadcaster contract. It's a standard IBF contract. This contract was signed by Filip Hrgović within 20 minutes of him receiving it. 20 minutes. Hunter's contract never materialized. Yesterday, he pulled out of the fight. No reason. No reason given, but we can all speculate. I mean, if you don't want the heat, then don't blow the smoke. And he's been blowing more smoke than a coal factory right now. So all the talk, all the bounty, all the this, that, and the other is just been a complete pack of bullshit. Sorry for the language. He never wanted to fight with Hrgović. He never fancied himself in that fight with Hrgović. He thought he'd make himself, I don't know, busy in the media over the few months. He can have signed with any promoter now, and I'm sure he'll come out next week. So I've got some promotional deal with somewhere. What promotional deal, or what deal? I mean, even an entrance to the I don't know, Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion. Nothing is more attractive than the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. By the way, the fight was not going to be in Croatia. It was in America, July the 10th, in the States, in his country. Yeah, in his country. I called Filip yesterday. I said, Filip, you're not going to believe it. I always had this suspicion the guy's a fraud. He's going to pull out. He's chicken of you. He don't want to fight you. Filip just said to me, "Oh, you're joking." He said, "Well, why he's doing this?" And I said, "It's a negotiation." I said, "No, it's not negotiation, Filip. He doesn't want the fight." He said, "But that's impossible. He's a boxer." I said, "Yeah, but not everyone has the mentality of fighting everyone." The terrible thing is you always have that option when the IBF calls you to say, "No, I don't fancy the fight." And a couple did that above him in the rankings. Charles Martin turned it down. Fair enough. He had his reasons, but at least he was straight and turned it down. He didn't pretend he was going to enter ring with Filip Hrgović. Hunter has led the public and everyone to believe he wants to fight Filip Hrgović. He knew he did not want that fight from day one. It can be nothing about money. No one can say, "Oh, well, they're paying him too little." Whatever. It was a purse bid. It was a public auction for the boxing world. Any promoter, from PBC to Top Rank to Frank Warren, whoever, anyone could have bid on that fight. It's a public bid. No one bid. That the market rate was paid, a good market rate, by the way. It wasn't a low ball. 606,000 is not a low ball. So he just went along with it the whole time. He had no offers, trying to make himself relevant. And it's for Filip, it's horrible. He's been now in a camp since January, since thinking he's fighting Bacoli, got this wonderful opportunity. So now we're sitting there and we're trying to work it out with the IBF over the weekend. You know, it's a disgrace. It's a fraud on any other professional boxer. When you set out, you know, I get it. When you're in a fight, you want to get psychological advantage. He wasn't in a fight with Hrgović. You know, he was lying all the way along. He never wanted to fight. He knew he was not that level. He knew, but he kept it up, and it's cost Filip 5 months of his life, 5 months of his boxing career, in which he's supporting his family ultimately. You know, so that is for me, that's someone who shouldn't be in boxing, full stop. You know, it's a disgrace. There's no hidden stories. It's a public thing. This has been a public process out there for anyone to look at the documentation. Just go on the IBF website, see all the documentation when the letters were sent out, etc. So, you know, that's my statement on it. I think the man is the bounty. He can call himself the bounty hunter, whatever you want to call himself. WWE. I suggest that path for you, mate.
Okay, so are we to assume that there's a potential, even though I understand what you're saying with the the position he was in fighting for an eliminator for the IBF title, are we to assume that he possibly has another option and has decided to take a different fight or pursue a... No, I get what you're saying, but...
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe, and if this is the case, I'll take everything back what I just said. Maybe he is signed to fight Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. What else could it be?
Well, we hope he hasn't, because we're hoping that fight...
Well, I know, but then I will take back everything I said. Good luck to you, mate. Well done. You've skipped the eliminator, you're fighting for the world title. That's the only answer to be given. You know, he's in training. He's been posted all week at the gym in Vegas with different people. You know, he's in training. You know, and if it was an injury, he would have come out and said it's an injury. You know, so there's simply no excuse. And by the way, if it's business, fair enough. Then be straight. Be straight with the other. Don't be straight with the. You know, don't have to respect the promoter as a fighter. I get that. You know, I get that. You see us all as hustlers, but be straight with your counterpart, your colleague in an industry, your fellow boxer. Philip has been in a camp since January because he believes that you want to fight him. You never wanted to fight him. You never had the intention to fight him. You never thought you played all the games, you know, but there was no game to be played. You know, that's the great thing about a purse bid scenario. Where ultimately, you know, the fighters get what the value of the fight is, and it was a good value, but it wasn't like it was a hotly contested purse bid with 5-6 participants that you sometimes see. One interested party, us.
Kalle, did you get any clarity on his situation regarding the missed test, the test that he wasn't available for, which was...
No idea. To be fair to him, that does happen. You have to change your address in the system, and it can happen once. It happens twice, and it's but no one has given us any clarity on that. But at the end, who cares? Because he don't want the fight. You know, he can be running around with a syringe up his backside. Right now, I don't care. I care that Filip Hrgović has been sitting in the training camp thinking this man wants to fight him. It's difficult enough to get opponents, you know. It's difficult enough to get opponents to fight El Animal, but this guy has been going out bounty. Look at his timeline on his Instagram or Twitter or whatever. That's the incredible part. It's not like he's been silently, you know, hedging his bets and whatever. And he can have signed with, as I said, he can have signed with a punk. I don't really care who he signed with. What's that got to do with anything? What's the job of a promoter is to build you, to make you the money, to go to a world title. Where'd you make the money? At the world title fight. If he would have won this fight, he would be boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. There's no bigger fights than that, you know? So, you know, I normally in this situation, I'll say, if we don't work out a deal, good luck to him. There ain't no good luck coming from this side. He's wasted our time. The man's a fraud. And bounty, yeah, well, that bounty has melted.
What is the situation now? Who's next in line that could be...
Well, that's something that we're trying to establish at the moment. I mean, you know, there's lots of different routes with the IBF can take on it. I mean, it is, you have to look at it from a period of time that the man has been basically restricted of his trade. You know, he can't fight. He will fight anyone to get to that world title position. He doesn't care. That's what he said to me yesterday as well. He doesn't understand Hunter, that Hunter has done this, because he said, why won't he fight him? I said, well, Philip, has it ever crossed your mind he's scared of you? He said, he's not scared of me. He can't be scared of me. He's a boxer. I said, no, but that's not the way all boxers tick. There's a certain mentality. And, you know, we'll go through it. But once again, we're talking to the IBF and we'll have to work out. But one thing is, we can't miss him fighting now in July. That's key. And you know, that's something that, you know, it's just so disrespectful. It's shameful. It's cowardice. It's everything that you know, when you look behind you, you got the picture of the greatest. Imagine Muhammad Ali playing a game like this, you know. You know, it's incredible the way some people think that being the boxer gives them the God-given right to behave as the greatest. To behave as the greatest, you've got to lead by example. You've got to do certain things. You've got to take certain fights. You want to be the greatest. Yeah, you've got to behave as well. Once again, you don't need to behave to us, the promoters, the bad men. You know, don't worry about that. But your fellow colleagues in the ring, however much you like them or dislike them, you know, at the end, there should always be a respect between fighters, no matter how much they kick off and whatever it is. There's always a mutual respect. How often have you seen a grudge fight after 12 rounds? They're in their arms in tears with each other. You know, they forge lifetime friendships. You know, you can name hundreds of them. That's the respect between boxers. The way that Hunter has gone about his business, forget what he has. You know, as a business, that's secondary. Doesn't matter. We don't matter. It's the fighter that matters in this case, and that's the very sad part about it. That's the part that really pushes the wrong nerve.
Well, I mean, if you obviously sticking to that date of getting Philip out on July the 10th, you'll want that situation resolved ASAP because it's not that far away. It's like
has to be, but it is a complex process with the IBF. They're very, very by the book, which is great for boxing. But at the same time, you have to look at the fighters. You know, this is a situation we've in boxing. You always say seen it all before. You haven't seen it all before. There's always new situations. That's the exciting thing of boxing. But this one is a remarkable one. Really, I couldn't believe it. I honestly, I thought if he's going to pull, he'd pull out then the day after the purse bid, maybe. You know. But the extra 2 weeks, what's he been doing the last 2 weeks? What's he doing? He knew since February 23, he's known he will not step into the ring with Filip Hrgović. He's known that. It's crystal clear. There's no one, if you look at the facts in a court of law, there's no one who cannot say that. It's impossible. He never wanted that fight. So, you know, that's the part. I mean, he's going to be punished. He'll be thrown out of the rankings. But, you know, what does that mean? You know, you get ranked with someone else, another federation, you know, you'll fight a couple of binmen and he'll be up there in the top 10 again soon, you know. But that's, you know, that is a serious fraudulent behaviour. You know, it's disgusting.
Okay, well, look, when there is kind of if there's a development regarding this, then let us know. But we're assuming that, you know,
we'll be very vocal about it. Don't worry about that, KUGAN.
Filip Hrgović will now face someone else.
So. It's not often I like to do interviews at this time on a Saturday morning, but this is the time that we had to get out there. Yeah, go and enjoy that fight tonight.
Yeah, I was going to finish off by saying, obviously a huge fight tonight over in Dallas between Canelo and our very own Billy Joe Saunders. What chance to give Billy tonight, Kalle?
I've tipped for Billy. I've tipped for Billy. I think a number of factors come in there. When I say I've tipped for Billy, it's for me a 50-50 fight. I think that Billy at his best is slick. He's a pure boxer, yeah. And Canelo can struggle against that. And it will be a lot about what the corner do. I think Tibbs is a fantastic trainer, boxing family. You see so much boxing heritage in that team. You can go generations back. So they're real fighting men. I'm not saying Canelo's not a real fighting man. He is the man to beat at the moment, no doubt. And you know, maybe I'm wrong, but there's good odds out there, you know, and I think if I look at Fight Week as a spectator from the outside and having been in many of these sort of fight weeks, you can see, you know, you see Canelo's reaction. He's clearly got under his skin. You know, I've never seen Canelo sort of grab his you-know-what and start swearing back at people and things like that. He seems to have got under his skin. Will he positively react to that? That could happen as well. Will he negatively react to that? We've seen it all before. One thing's for sure, it's a cracking fight. But yeah, I do think that Billy seems to be in better. He's done a better training camp than he's ever done for any fight. He's been, you know, I think he was training for a long time in Marbella. Then he went over to the States quite early, and he looks like, I first thought he was one of them Instagram filters, you know. But he looks the part, doesn't he? You never see Billy Joe Saunders looking like that. He looks like someone out of, I don't know, Men's Health or something. So, you know, it's an enthralling one. The build-up's been good and interesting, as it always is with BJS. You know, I'm definitely going to be getting up tomorrow morning to watch that.
100%. Well, let's. Well, he's crying out.
What time's ring walks? Actually, I didn't find out what time ring walks are. Is it an all-nighter, or does one set the alarm clock?
It is going to be around 4 o'clock in the morning, by all accounts. So.
All-nighter then, isn't it? I mean, that's an easy one.
I think the show starts from about 1 o'clock UK time, but I think
okay.
Around what time? 4 o'clock.
I'll be getting in the groove around then. That's good. Right. Okay.
Right, Mr.
Justice for Philip. Justice for Philip. This is important today. Right. Made my point.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, and yeah, we'll catch up when there's more news regarding this situation.
Absolutely. Over and out, Coog.
Thank you very much.